as they're dazed and unable to react with most of their survival skills. I finish off with a stomp and put some cool animation effects in just for the hell of it. For the next fight, I engage 2 max level thieves in the same guild. Approaching from the side, I'm able to get the jump on them, so I steal up to the first thief, get a cloak and dagger followed by a strong backstab, and already have him almost down. The second thief goes into a dagger storm, but I'm able to just evade out of it and re-stealth to avoid most of the damage. The Asura thief then gets a lucky hit on me, and the second thief also opens, so I shadow step away and dagger storm in order to gain distance from them and cripple them so they have a hard time keeping up with me. When they catch me, I immediately shadow step back and attempt to re-stealth. However, I was immune as my low health blinding powder had already triggered, so I re-stealth with my own blinding powder and then open on the other thief that had approached me. The thief shadow steps back, and both thieves are now in shadow refuge to reset themselves. I use the fact that there's a pack of mobs around me as my own stealth cover, waiting for the enemies to re-engage on me. I see that both thieves are now on the hill above me using black powder to stay in stealth, so I continue to use the mobs to stay in stealth and force the enemies to re-engage on me in this area. One thief opens and fails his backstab on the mob, and I find the second thief out in the open, so I quickly re-stealth with a cloak and dagger and get another good backstab in. To confuse the enemies on my positioning, I immediately steal to a mob and use the stolen ability to re-stealth and then Heartseeker into the thief to get him down. I then drop a Shadow Refuge to go for a safe stomp, take a daze from the remaining thief's out of stealth sword ability, but do get a successful stomp, and then immediately reopen on the remaining thief. I can tell at this point I have the thief panicked as he shadow steps away, so I Heartseeker up for good damage. He shadow steps back, so I switch to my short bow and finalize with a few quick arrow shots. I drop a poison and put final damage pressure to fully dispatch of the thief. The thief attempts to invite me to a group, but do note that I don't normally accept group invites from enemies, as I don't usually care for the conversation that can occur. For the next fight, I approach 3 enemies debating about taking a camp, and I decide I'm going to give them the upper hand to engage me, so I stop to pick some strawberries. I see the enemies enter stealth, so I turn around and move backwards, preparing for them to engage. The engineer engages first, and I take an immobilize from him, but I get a cloak and dagger off and enter stealth. I then use Thieves Giuld to even the odds and give the enemies some different targets to waste their abilities on. One of my thieves pulls the engineer to knock him down, so I use this as an opportunity to engage with another backstab. I then re-stealth and see that the engineer has knocked himself away from his friends, so I use this as an opportunity to get fast damage into him before the other enemies can react. His Elixir S on low health goes off, and he then uses his own Elixir S to prevent me from finalizing the kill. I re-stealth one more time and see that I can still finalize the damage on him, so I move in and finish him off. I now Shadow Refuge to get the stomp and position myself so that if the Mesmer were to use his Greatsword knockback, I hopefully would not be knocked out of stealth. The stomp is successful, and I already get very strong damage into the Ranger. At this point, the Mesmer evades backwards and knocks himself off the ledge and is going to completely run away, and I finalize the stomp on the Ranger. I move out to try to find the Mesmer, but he's already completely gone. For the next fight, I take on several enemies outside of an enemy camp. I immediately steal in and get a stealth off on this Staff Elementalist, expecting that she's probably fairly squishy. I miss my next Cloak and Dagger, but do manage to avoid her stun field, and re-stealth on the sentry while I wait for her to move out of that field. As I re-engage on her again, I notice a Necromancer coming into the fight as well. I move forward to avoid